Hello, fifth graders. Miss A coming to you live, sort of. It's the end of the year, and normally we would have a lot of fun stuff going on for you guys. And unfortunately, we just can't do that this year. So I decided to do a very special project. You guys will be creating a legacy wall. Now, this is something that you will do at home and you will bring back, and it will stay up at school permanently, like forever. If you haven't gotten it yet, you will by Friday have received a bag from your classroom teacher or from a specials teacher. It'll be a paper bag filled with all your stuff from the classroom. Well, in that bag, these are all of the supplies that you need to complete this legacy wall piece. The final project will look something like this, but of your own design. Let me try and get it so you can see it. It will be a handprint tile with some sort of design in the background or on the hand. That's totally up to you. But what it has to have is a handprint on there. And you are not going to write your name. You will see that your tile has your name on the back. I'm going to have Miss Liz from Biscuit with her beautiful handwriting write your name on your tile. So let's take a look at what's inside these bags that you have. First of all, you want to make sure that it is indeed your tile. So on the back, which is the bumpy side, you should have your name on there. It should just be your first name and the first letter of your last name. If I have misspelled anyone's name, please grab a Sharpie or even a pencil or something and correct it. You will have one super high quality paintbrush. It's not, but it'll do the trick, and I don't need these back. Also, inside your bag, you have your painting supplies. It's really important that these are the only supplies that are being used for your tile. If you use some other type of paint, it's not going to work, because what happens is you will paint on here, then they get heated in a kiln, which is a fancy word for an oven, and the paint itself becomes like glassy and smooth. So if you're painting with like craft paint from your house, it's not going to work, I promise. So make sure that you're just using these supplies. These are called glaze. You'll see that you have 3 containers. You will have 2 small ones and 1 big one. The big one is to paint the background of the tile. This is what you're going to paint the whole tile with first. And you will do that 2 times because you need 2 layers of this special glaze before you do anything else. The 2 little containers, you'll see that one of them, this is a little tricky to see, has an H on it. The little container with the H is for your handprint, right? So H for hand. The other little container is for decoration. It's very important that you use the big container for the background, the H for the handprint, and then the other one for the decorations. These are very specific colors. They don't look very dark and bold right now, but I assure you when they are fired, when they're finished, the colors will be very vivid. And I picked the darkest colors for the handprints so that they show up really nicely, right? You may not have these same colors. I tried to kind of switch it up a little bit so they all look a little different. But they will have the 2 different size containers and 3 containers all together. Make sure that when you're doing the painting that you are painting on the smooth side and not the back of the tile. That will not work. So with that being said, when you have completed your tile, you are going to have to bring it back to school. There will be a box outside of the front office starting at the end of this week. So starting Friday, I will put a box outside. It'll be Tupperware with a lid on it, and it's going to have a tag on it that says 5th grade tile project. Please bring your tiles to school and leave them in that box. I would suggest once they're dry, stick them back in the big bag so that they don't scratch around. Just in case other tiles are in there, you don't want to scratch somebody else's or have yours scratched. Um, what else? I think that's it. So what I want you to do is to watch the tutorial video. I'm going to give you some tricks and hints for how to get this done successfully so that when we fire it, it does look beautiful. And then bring it to school once it's dry, please.
Okay, starting with the glaze in the biggest cup, you are going to paint a nice, thin, smooth layer across the whole front of the tile. Try to make sure that all of your brush strokes are going the same direction. So this time, she's going diagonally up to the right and kind of smoothing it out as she goes. Once your first layer has dried, you're going to use the same color glaze to do a second layer. This time you can just dump that stuff right on there and spread it out, except you're going to go in the opposite direction. Get it all smoothed out. If you have any extras, you can just kind of wipe it off, but you should have a nice thick second layer. Once it's all smooth, then you have to let it dry again. So for the third step, you're going to be making your handprint. I would move your tile out of the way, and remember you're using the small cup with the H on it. Dump that stuff out onto your hand, and you can use your fingers or a paintbrush to get a nice thick layer of paint on your hand. You have to do this very quickly because the glaze will dry out. So once you've got it on your hand, move that tile back to your workspace and you're gonna press your hand down. Now your hand might be a little bit bigger, so you have to go diagonally across the tile. That's totally fine. Okay, so your handprint is dry and you're ready to decorate. Some tools that you might want to use for decorating could be things like a pencil eraser, a toothpick, the back of the paintbrush that I gave you, or even a fork. Remember, you can do a lot of different designs just using simple dot patterns and line patterns. Here are a couple of examples. Super simple patterns, just made with different sized dots. And here are some line patterns you could draw with a toothpick. So now that you're ready to do your design in the background or even on top of the hand, choose the materials you want to use and come up with something very simple. If you do make a mistake, my suggestion is to work with it. It's really difficult to clean up mistakes with, a wet rag in this situation. Even though the paint wipes off, it may end up wiping off way more than you mean to. So if you do make a mistake, just do your best to work with it and make it look like it's part of the artwork.
If you break your tile, which hopefully you won't, but if for some reason it breaks, it's okay, just let me know. I have a couple of extras, but not a lot. So be very, very careful with these. If you run out of paint, I definitely have extra of those as well. So email me, call me, whatever you need. So what else? So make sure that you bring your tile to school by May 27th. Because I will be taking them to Biscuit after that to be fired. And if yours isn't there, I can't fire it. So make sure that you bring it to school by May 27th. I think that's the day of your parade. All right, I can't wait to see what you guys make. These will be finished mid-June probably, and Mr. Fred will put them on the wall for us. Oh, Mr. Fred. So hopefully when you come back, to see us, you'll be able to see your tile wall too, and you'll be able to point yours out, and for years to come, you can come back and see your artwork. So let's get started.